Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachadi Jamunatira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Padabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Padabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jasodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachadi Jamunatira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parividakacharya Astatarasatasi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Gaur Premanandi. Do this first. And then you can take the Mridanka and put it in that cabinet over there. Yes, please. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. No verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, everybody get out your phone. Canto 10, Chapter 23. Canto 10, Chapter 23. Texts 24 and 25. Tell me when you're ready. We're ready. Some are ready. Okay. Text 25, we'll chant responsively. Svagatam vo mahabhaga asyatam karavamakim Yanno drikshaya prapta upapanam idam hiva svagatam vo mahabhaga asyatam karavamakim yanno didrikshaya prapta upapanam idam hiva. Svagatam va mahabhaga asyatam karavamakim yanno dadrikshaya prapta upapanam idam hiva. Please chant. You. Svagatam vo mahabhaga asyatam karavamakim yanno didrikshaya prapta upapanam idam hiva agatam. Auspicious welcome. Vaha, for you. Mahabhaga, oh, fortunate ladies. Asyatam, please come sit. Karavama, I can do. Kim, what? Yat, because. Naha, us, didrikshaya, with the desire of seeing. Prapta, you have come. Upapanam, fitting. Idam, this. He, certainly. Vaha, on your part. I'm going to go back and read text 24, then there's a little commentary. I'll read that. 24. Lord Krishna, who witnesses the thoughts of all creatures, understood how those ladies had abandoned all worldly hopes and come there simply to see him. Thus he addressed them as follows, with a smile on his face. The smile as he's going to tease them. Well, there we go. So the commentary, here we go. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on that verse writes briefly, seeing them there in that state, tata, standing stunned with the plates of food in their hands, the witness of all people's intelligence, Akila, Drik, Drashta, began laughing and spoke. Jiva Goswami wrote, he, Krishna, understood that they came with a desire to see him because he is the witness of all intelligence, Akila Drik Drashta. He is the witness of all jivas. His smile indicates his sweet cleverness in cheating. And text 25 translation, Lord Krishna said, welcome, oh, most fortunate ladies, please sit down and make yourselves comfortable. What can I do for you? That you have come here to see me is most appropriate. Purport. Just as Sri Krishna welcomed the gopis who came to dance with him at night, similarly, he welcomed the Brahmanas' wives, whose pure love for him was proved by their overcoming many hindrances to see the Lord. The word upapanam indicates that although these ladies had rejected their husband's orders, their behavior was not at all inappropriate, since their husbands had obviously tried to obstruct their loving service to Lord Krishna. And here's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on this verse. Krishna addressed the wives of the Brahmanas, who were endowed with the greatest prema, in a similar manner that he addressed the gopis who came for the rasa dance. Quote, your coming is all glorious, swagatam, because, desiring to see me, and overcoming all obstacles, you have attained me. As I cannot repay you in any way, what can I do? I'm simply your debtor. You're more fortunate than I am, Mahabhaga. You should stay here for some time in order to see me. And Jiva Goswami writes, Krishna then spoke with respect. Please relax. Asyatam, please order what I can do for you. Krishna speaks in the plural case in order to show neutrality and hide their devotion to him by effecting an ordinary situation. The phrase, coming with a desire to see him, negates any other desires that may arise after seeing him. This is chapter 23, and Krishna's conversation with the gopis is chapter 29, comes later. Krishna's, the chronology of the unfolding of Krishna's pastimes not necessarily, or the presentation of Krishna's pastimes is not necessarily chronological. In this case it is, but the commentators are saying the words, the way that Krishna greeted the wives is similar. It's not only similar, it's almost identical. This first line, Swagatam Vo Mahabhaga, is exactly the Sanskrit in chapter 29 when the gopis come, and he knows why they came. But he's asking, why have you come? And then he states why they've come, to see him. Because they have similar affection to the gopis, the young gopis. Now these are wives of brahmanas, but they have affection for Krishna like the young gopis have for Krishna, of course. Their age is different. But the transcendental emotion is not restricted by or determined by the covering, the age of the body and the gender of the body and so forth, which is very mysterious. Similar to the set of gopis, the way that our Gaudiya Vaishnava acharyas have explained, when Krishna performs his pastimes, there's his Nitya Siddha devotees that are with him, and then there's others that are joining his Bhoma Lila to be trained by the Nitya Siddha devotees. It's kind of like a stopover on the way to the Goloka. So the Nitya Siddha devotees train them how they can do their various services. And amongst the group of gopis, there's a extensive commentary on this, but one of the groups of devotees that are being trained up are called the Rishi Chari gopis. The Rishi Chari gopis are the sages in the Dandak forest that wanted Ram to become their husband, although they're in male bodies. And it wasn't one of these modern transvestite things. It was, they were on the spiritual platform, and they had that desire to serve the personality of Godhead in that mood. And his reply was, not in this lifetime, because I accept only one wife, but in next my pastime. So they joined Krishna's pastimes as the Rishi Chari gopis being trained by the Nitya Siddha gopis. It's a little detailed, but the important point is the personality of Godhead reciprocates with the desire of wishing to be in service to him or wishing to be in a relationship with him. So here, the wives of brahmanas, they have their religious duty to their brahmana husbands, and they're forsaking their duties. Specifically, commentary says they were forbidden. Now, it's not within the verse because the boys, the cowherd boys, went to the brahmanas for some food, and the brahmanas ignored them. So then they came back and were sad, and Krishna said, go to the wives, because he knew the hearts of the wives. Not just like ladies, they're softer hearted, and if someone asks for some food, they're very happy to supply. In addition to that, they had this conjugal affection for Krishna. So Krishna knew their affection for him, and he sent the cowherd boys, young, very young boys, to invite them to come bring something for Krishna. Of course, it wasn't for Krishna, it was for the boys. But the boys were hungry because Krishna wanted a pastime. They had their lunches, but they were saying they were hungry. Early in the day, they were hungry. And they had their lunches. So it was just a pastime. So when they went to the elder gopis, immediately they made arrangements, not elder gopis, the wives of the brahmanas made arrangements. And they came with the beautiful paintings of their plates with nice edibles, standing there with unblinking eyes looking at Krishna, feasting their eyes on the beauty of Krishna. Now they're, at least as far as I can understand it, they're of an age like a mother, but their affection is not that exactly affection. And the very same Sanskrit as is here, he's receiving the gopis in chapter 29, he's receiving the wives of the brahmanas in chapter 23. The same Sanskrit initial line is used. And similarly, when Krishna is letting them know, okay, thank you, now you have to go back and do your duties, he uses the same language as he did with the gopis and said the same thing. Now here he's saying it's certainly appropriate. With the gopis, he said it's not appropriate. That's a distinction. More obstacle with the gopis than with the wives of the brahmanas. Their mindset is different. The wives of the brahmanas' mindset is different than young girls. And transgression is not okay because they're young girls, but it's just that Krishna is, the main point is, he reciprocates with the regard that one has for him. Precisely according to the regard that one has for him. And this plays into the distinction between Vaikuntha and Goloka. And even within Goloka, there's distinctions within Goloka. There's Dwaraka, Mathura, and Vrindavan. Now these are brahmanas that live in Vrindavan, and the wives live in Vrindavan. So they have an affection for Krishna like the residents in Vrindavan have. Unfortunately, their husbands, at least during this particular pastime, they were proud of their Brahminical status and their Brahminical function, and were ignoring Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys because of because of pride. Even in Vrindavan, even Brajavasis, at least there was their current condition. But when their wives came back and the whole thing became known of what happened, they then expressed to their wives, "You're the most exalted. You're so fortunate." Now a little light went on somehow, and they understood the good fortune of their wives. And their good fortune is the love that they had, and because of the love that they had, Krishna called them. Now he could have gone to them also, but he showed his form to them. And the commentary is saying, stay for some time. This is your good fortune. You're seeing me. Stay for some time. And receive the purification and spiritual benefit of my personal darshan. Because of our association with Srila Prabhupada and through Srila Prabhupada, the disciplic succession of Lord Chaitanya, and because of that, the special emphasis on Krishna in Vrindavan, Braja Prema, we're encouraged again and again in so many ways to hold that Braja Prema in special regard. While we're holding Braja Prema in special regard, we're not to ignore or belittle the other forms of worship of the personality of Godhead, while at the same time holding on to the unique and very special position of Braja Prema. Now, many people don't have that. Even within Vedic tradition or even within Vaishnava tradition, many people don't have that. So, just like famous, celebrated in the Bhagavatam are the stories of Prahlad and Dhruva, and they didn't have that Braja Prema mood. They had Narayana or Vishnu Bhakti, and their destination was accordingly. Because wherever your affinity goes, whatever your mind is fixed upon, Krishna will reciprocate and provide you that destination. So little do we know of the good fortune that we have to receive this very unique, very special regard for Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan and all the mysteries surrounding Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. All of that is, besides its mercy, it is meant, its function is to stimulate that kind of love within us. That's how it works. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody that's a member of ISKCON can't find some deep satisfaction in some other worship or some other worship. But the unique position of Krishna's pastimes, specifically in Vrindavan, they're unparalleled. The love of the residents of Vrindavan is unparalleled, as expressed by those that have a deep love for Krishna outside of Vrindavan. The regard they have, like let's say Queen Kunti, the regard that Queen Kunti has, or the regard that Bhishma Dev has, or the regard that Narada has for the residents of Vrindavan. It's in their minds unquestionably superlative. It doesn't mean, well, let me give up this kind of affinity and affection that I have over here because I want the best, and my disposition is not the best. That's the best, so let me abandon it. That's not their position. They're quite content and fixed, and at the same time appreciating the uniqueness of the love of the residents in Vrindavan. And we, by hearing these pastimes, this is a very elevated section, these chapters of the 10th canto, they have a potency to stimulate that same ecstatic love. That's Lord Chaitanya's gift, is through the chanting of the holy name and hearing the messages of Srimad Bhagavatam to awaken within us Braja Prem. That's the gift. Namo Mahavaranaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gauratrishye Namaha. He is the most munificent or magnanimous of all forms of the Lord, is giving freely Krishna Prema, and even specifically the exalted love of the residents of Vrindavan for Krishna. Very special. Just yesterday, I met somebody that was sharing from their childhood. They had a different type of worship, and now in the mature stages of their life, having come in contact with Srila Prabhupada and his teachings and the way of devotion, their attraction for Krishna is superseding the attraction of the other type of worship that they've known since childhood. And they a little bit astonished and a little bit appreciative, because it wasn't like an effort to go there. they didn't emphasize, as some people do, the difficulty in going there because of attachment or affinity for something else. But on the other hand, it's quite natural. Quite natural. Quite natural. And the interest is not necessarily they should give up their affinity the way that they have it and take this one. Let it stimulate the affinity they have according to the tradition that they've grown up in, because Krishna is Krishna in the different features. I think I'll end there and see if there's some discussion. There's not a whole lot of, but there's people online, so it's good if there's a microphone. Yeah. Here's a microphone.
This attachment, like you said, like a material attachment, for example.
Material attraction?
Yeah. So how we can, overcome to...
How to overcome material attraction?
Yeah, to go further towards...
We go for the spiritual attraction.
Yes.
Well, it's simultaneously two things. It's knowledge and detachment, that is, that material attraction has a certain outcome, and by knowledge one can understand what that outcome is. Knowledge and detachment, jnana vairagya. And as it's like the wet wood can become dry, but then comes igniting the dry wood, and that's igniting dry wood, making the dry wood into fire, igniting the dry wood. You're looking at me like you don't understand. Should I say it again? You do understand or not understand? No. Here's some wet wood. So one of the things that we want to do if we want fire is to make the wet wood into dry wood. So knowledge and detachment helps make wet wood dry wood. But the goal is not just to have dry wood, knowledge and detachment. The goal is devotion to the personality of Godhead. That's the fire of devotion. So we then simultaneously, knowledge and detachment, and over on this side, activities of devotion, deity worship, chanting, study, reading, serving for the pleasure of Krishna, etc. That awakens a greater happiness, param drishtva nivartante, that enables us to completely let go of the illusion of enjoying the temporary. It's incomplete, that knowledge and detachment procedure is incomplete without awakening the greater happiness, the param drishtva, the higher happiness. Because after some time, that detachment will subside and we'll become attracted again, because there's some happiness. We were sensing that there was some happiness over there. So it's those two things. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, in the beginning of class, you were speaking about transcendental emotion is not restricted by age of the body or the gender of the body. It certainly seems to be the case that bodily...
Seems to be a what?
It seems to be the case that bodily restrictions temper our ability to engage.
Bodily restrictions temper our...
temper the ability to engage in...
Ability to engage in devotional service.
Yes, for example, somebody who's dying, or somebody's body is sick, or a child. It certainly seems that the body restricts.
Yeah, we're restricted by our body. That's what you're saying? Yeah. That's the nature's arrangement. That's nature's arrangement. When we receive a body, the indication of turn left or right, or happiness looks like this, or happiness looks like that, is very much influenced by the body. The happiness of this species, that species, or this person, that person, is impelled by the body, guna and karma of the body. But that fact is not binding. There's a higher truth or higher reality or a higher experience. And so back to his question, the conscious curbing of those tendencies, while at the same time the conditioned tendencies, the identification with the body tendencies, minimizing, regulating, controlling, while trying to enhance the bhakti principle or consciousness. I don't know if, because your voice is not so good, I'm not sure if I'm addressing your question.
Specifically, what did you mean by saying that transcendental...
What does it mean?
What did you mean by the statement that transcendental emotion
What
is
does it
not...
mean to have a transcendental emotion? No.
Transcendental emotion is not restricted by the body.
Oh,
what does that mean?
Okay. Well, it's of the soul. That's the meaning. My thought is going to Haridas Thakur saying to the king, you're the king is the representative of God, that you have the full authority to punish me however you feel is appropriate to punish me. Please know that if you decide my punishment is my body should be chopped into so many little pieces, I still won't stop chanting. Because it's of the soul. That's his chanting. Now, the body is being used for chanting, but it's of the soul chanting for Haridas at least. Wasn't regulative, it was... So that transcendental motion is not limited by or determined by the body circumstance. Now that's a higher state of consciousness than our consciousness is very much influenced by what's going on. Supposing we have an illness or something. Supposing we have a toothache. Supposing so many things. Something horrific happens, and our sensibility is shattered. So we're influenced by circumstances, but ultimately the transcendental emotion is not determined by. Having said that, the forms of the gopis suits their affection for him. Their spiritual form, it's not a covering of the soul, it's their spiritual form, is female. And there's different ages of those females' forms suited to their love for him. On the other hand, it's not that the physical covering must, of necessity, modify transcendental emotion. I mean, here's an example, comes to mind. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in some of his writings, he indicates his realization about his spiritual form with a particular name, spiritual form with a particular, so a gopi with a particular name, a particular dress, a particular type of service to Radha and Krishna. Now he didn't stop doing his duties in the world. At the same time, he had an understanding not only Aham Brahmasmi, but particulars about his spiritual identity and his spiritual service to Krishna, Radha Krishna. And there's other examples. Shyamananda, not restricted to the body type that he was within. Anything else? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And I hope our sick people get well soon, because there's a lot of sick people. Huh? No. I have to leave early. What? Come on.
Classes, lectures, you mentioned that you wanted to go to Badrikashram tour and when you were planning for...
I have no idea. No idea.
Is that the right place? This will go there, right? Oh, the mic will go there. Stand will go there.